Do you want to live a life that is more effortless? One that includes more joy in your life, more harmony, but also more effectiveness? Well, following the middle way can help you live this kind of a life. Now, following the middle way is fundamental for Buddhist and Taoist philosophy, but it's also fundamental for mental training. It really has a lot to do with your ability to focus your attention in the moment on whatever you're doing. Now, I've covered a lot of topics in these lessons that point to the middle way. In this lesson, we're going to seek to integrate these so you can understand better what it means to follow the middle way. Taoist and Buddhist philosophy teach that following the middle way leads to a life of balance and harmony. If you go to the extremes, then you get out of balance. They also say that living the middle way is finding the point of equilibrium between opposing forces. You have forces of expansion and contraction impinging on you. Forces of expansion are your natural desire to explore, to apply energy. Forces of contraction are your natural need to be grounded, to rest and recover energy. You cycle between these opposing forces. This cycle, though, is not static. Finding this point of equilibrium between these opposing forces is a dynamic process. And to flow with this unfolding dynamic process, you get into an in-between state where you're neither grasping for comfort nor rejecting stress. Rather, you're relaxing into the present stress and finding comfort there. This heightens your attention in a moment and your ability to follow the middle way. Our training emphasizes the importance of how you engage stress. We use what we call the bullet graphic to show this. The green zone is the comfort zone. The yellow zone is the stress zone. The red zone is the panic zone. Here's an important question to ask. Where on this graphic do you need to be to heighten your learning motivation? This is our answer. You need to be at the green-yellow line, edging into the yellow stress zone. The basic process is this. You take a small step into stress, you focus your attention on the stress, you process the stress into comfort with your attention. This is the learning process in a nutshell. If you just stay in your green comfort zone, then you're not going to learn. But if you edge too far into the yellow zone, that stress zone, or get into the red panic zone, you don't learn either. In fact, learning shuts down. So engaging in appropriate levels of stress, right when you're at that edge between the green and the yellow zone, edging into the stress, this is when you heighten your ability to be present and to learn. And it also helps you increase your ability to follow the middle way. Following the middle way is said to be effortless. The breathing metaphor can help you understand this point. Breathing is a self-perpetuating cycle. You don't need to do anything. Let's look at the elements. Just as you need both inhaling and exhaling, you also need both comfort, which is rest, and stress, which is activity. Comfort helps you recover energy. Stress helps you apply energy. So you accept both. Just as you either commit to inhaling or exhaling, you commit to either rest or activity. These are two completely different things. By committing to either one or the other, you heighten your attention to that unique part of the cycle. Just as you neither grasp for the inhale nor reject the exhale, you neither grasp for comfort nor reject stress. This keeps you in an in-between state so you can focus on the process. These elements heighten your ability to have your attention focused in the moment. They help you flow with a constantly changing cycle, and this helps you follow the middle way. Breathing is a natural, self-perpetuating cycle. As the inhale progresses, it becomes ever more inevitable that you'll need to exhale, and vice versa. Natural and self-perpetuating means that it works of its own accord. You don't have to do anything. In fact, if you interfere and try to do something, then you disrupt this natural cycle. If you don't interfere, then it can be effortless. Without interference, the breath cycles in a timely manner based on the body's needs. For example, if you're exercising, then the pace of inhaling and exhaling, that cycle, increases. If you take a break and rest, then the timing of that cycling increases or extends. In life, you also have this cycle of activity and rest, and you can feel it in your body when you're out of balance. You might be biased more toward activity and you're sleep deprived. Well, you can feel that in your body. You can feel the need for sleep and rest. And you can work toward getting more in balance so that you can cycle in a timely manner between activity and rest. And this is what really helps you follow the middle way. Timely cycling happens when we can tune into this natural self-perpetuating cycle. But we all tend to be habituated where it prevents being able to do this. I can speak for myself. This cycle between rest and activity, for example, I tend to be biased toward activity. And so I get exhausted, I get burnt out. And it takes intentional practice to be able to get back into alignment with this cycle where we can follow the middle way. We work with this in climbing. For example, climbing cycles between stopping and moving. You stop or move for longer periods of time to go to extremes. When climbers go to the extreme of stopping too long, they feel more inertia, which makes it harder to re-engage stress. When climbers go to the extreme of moving too long, they fall off. Climbers feel what it's like in their bodies when they stay too long at the stopping point. They can feel that inertia, what it feels like. They can obviously feel what it's like when they stay too long in the moving part of that cycle and they fall off. Working the extremes toward the center is you just decrease the amount of time that you're stopped and you decrease the amount of time that you're moving so that you can find something that is in balance and cycles in a timely manner for your needs. So you can adjust this to the kind of situation that you're in, but you're still cycling in a timely manner and more aligned with this natural self-perpetuating cycle. The climbing metaphor integrates into the middle way by giving it a structure. Goal. Your natural tendency is to be motivated by comfort. Without a goal, you'll end up taking the easiest way to nowhere meaningful. Specifically, you'll avoid stress. With a goal, you point your desire to be comfortable in the direction of stress. Motivation. You'll need to exert effort as you process stress to reach your goal. You increase the effectiveness of your work by how you're motivated. Being motivated by learning helps you process stress and learn. Work. You value work by doing it for its own sake. This heightens your joy and attention in the moment. This structure helps you navigate the edge between comfort and stress as you do the work to learn. It gives structure to following the middle way. Don't force the river, flow with it. We looked at how the river metaphor helps you do work so it can flow. The river metaphor has three elements. Energy. The energy of water flows along the path of least resistance. River channel. That energy modifies the river channel by eroding it. Intention. The energy is directed by the force of gravity. Similarly, you follow the path of least resistance when you're doing work, and you allow your attitude to be eroded by modifying what you currently know instead of validating it. And you're intentional by setting an intention to focus on the learning process, not the end result. To flow with the river, you don't rush through the stress, but you also don't stall out in procrastination. You find an in-between state between rushing and stalling. And you do this by relaxing into the natural flow of the situation, the natural unfolding of it. Getting into this in-between state by neither grasping for comfort nor rejecting stress. You find the middle way by integrating these topics, these concepts. You work within that structure of a goal, motivation, and work. You accept that life is both stressful and comfortable. You take small steps into stress where you willingly want to be there. And you're motivated by learning so that your attention can be in the moment. All of these position you for being in the middle way, for then integrating the work that you actually do. Follow the path of least resistance through the stress. Don't rush or stall. Get into an in-between state by relaxing into stress. Don't resist being eroded. Rather, modify your current knowledge with what you learn. Tune into the body to flow with the natural perpetual cycle between rest and activity. Follow the middle way as you navigate this line between stress and comfort. That'll heighten your attention in the moment, and it'll heighten your presence for life so that you really can have a life of joy, harmony, and effectiveness. Perhaps you suffer from burnout like I was describing for myself, and you need to get back into balance by following the middle way so that you can have a life that is more joyful, has more harmony and effectiveness. Do this by integrating these concepts into a structure. This will heighten your attention for your life. It'll align your motivation for learning as you're doing that work, and it helps you follow the middle way. Here's the drill. Goal. Be clear about your goal to live as an impeccable warrior. That means you use your attention impeccably. Motivation. Value the stress and work required to achieve your goal. Be motivated by learning. Work. Take a small step. Be efficient by following the path of least resistance. Process stress into comfort by relaxing into it. Modify what you know instead of validating it so you can learn from the experience. Cycle. Tune into the body to know when to cycle into rest. Then listen again when it's time to work. This helps you cycle in a timely manner. Following the middle way helps you trust how life is unfolding. It also helps you integrate into something larger than yourself. And this in itself can bring more joy, harmony, and effectiveness.